if you are super excellent, you don't have to pay any tuition in college or university.
Right. It's similar in America. If you do really well, then you get scholarships. Sometimes people get scholarships if their family doesn't have any money and the kid wants to go to school as well. Sometimes they get a scholarship even if their grades are not the best. It's very common in America. However, that's becoming lower each year because there's a lot of kids who get accepted into very rewarding university, but they don't care. They're only going because it's they feel like a celebrity. It's just popular. It makes their pride go up, and then they party all the time. They don't study, and then their parents pay so much only for their kid to drop out of school. In America, they don't punish the kid for dropping out. They let the kid come back next year. Does Japan do that? Does a Japanese university do that to a kid who pays for college but then drops out? Is that common, or do you think that everyone tries their best and dropping out is very uncommon?
It's not so common. Students choose dropping out. What university offers is different from what they want to study or need. It's not financially things in many cases.
I see. That makes sense. So you think they drop out because that's not what they want to do, not because they don't care. It's difficult for them to find what they want to do. It's very hard for you to apply to a university only for you to tell them what you want to do, but then they don't offer it. So then you ask yourself, then what's the point? Why do I go to university if they're not going to give me what I want to learn for my career, right?
In Japan, especially departments of humanities, their university work is not so hard compared to science departments. They have time. Several students choose get into university to look for something critical to their life.
Right.
Once they find critical thing, it's not necessarily be related to things they study. Then they might choose to drop out and pursue what they really need.
I can relate because I thought that when I graduated from high school, I wanted to work with computers. But when I ended up doing that, what I learned in school had nothing to do with what I wanted to do. It wasn't the right reason. So I switched my major. Can you switch majors in Japan at a university?
Once I did from international relationship to philosophy. I wanted to do artistic things. In the university I studied, to them, international means only the regions, East Asia countries.
Not the rest of the world.
No, when I was a junior high school student, I have strong interest in the world, literally the world, in addition to other Asian countries, European countries, American countries, and other countries. I wanted to study colleges in the
And
world.
that's what you're doing now, right?
But the university is limited to specific countries in East Asia. That's not what I wanted or needed.
So what did you end up getting did you end up getting a degree in your university in the end?
Philosophy, Bachelor of Arts.
Bachelor of Arts. That's what I'm
in
doing
philosophy.
right now. You graduated with a bachelor's in
Yes,
philosophy.
I graduated.
Do you
And,
think that was worth it?
To be honest, it doesn't work at all in business. I remember I suffered job hunting. Job hunting didn't work. at all. Especially when you change your company or career, this major works negatively.
学士
Major,
号を取って嬉しかったですか？
yes,
でも、
because
それは価値がありましたか？どうしていいどうしていいか？
the bachelor's degree itself is worth. Bachelor's degree is something essential
Yeah, it's very
to
essential
to,
to find a job.
to survive in Japan.
So,
So
could you say like, この学位は今の仕事に役に立ちましたか？
no,
どうして？
it's not practical.
Because
I
of
mean,
money.
Yes, and because I didn't study any law or economy, and I think once you are employed by some companies, the companies need you, expect you to have those knowledge that useful to business.
Okay.
You don't study at all those things in course of philosophy. You didn't pursue music. So isn't it the same reason, right? So even if you play musical instruments, but it's hard for you to be employed by company in general.
I know I studied music only for me to kind of ditch it. It's like 音楽の仕事を見つけるのは難しいですよ。It's very very hard because
Yes,
America, California, Texas, they're very 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 competitive for music. Very competitive for music. So if I were to get a bachelor's degree in music, it's not the same as getting a bachelor's degree in English, for example, because with English, if you can speak it, then we assume that you're good at it. Whereas music, if you have a bachelor's degree in music, people ask, can you play me something? Can you play this song? So like, do you know who Osamuraisan is? He is very talented and does acoustic music for guitar. Very talented. Him, if someone asked Osamurai-san, can you play this song? He could play it perfectly because he's practiced for 20 years. Even when he went to school for something different. He graduated from Tokyo University and Rikyo for music pedagogy, like how to write music. But to play it is completely different. And he can play it very well. For me, I can write music, but to play it like on the spot perfectly, it's hard. It takes me years and years and years, and I feel like the only way for me to do that is if I didn't have to go to work and I could study music all the time. For me, I can't study music every day for 10 hours a day because I have to work and I have to take care of my family and I have to take care of my animals and go to school. It's not realistic. So that's why I switched major from music to communications, because let's say I did get a major in music, it's useless, especially in Japan, because if I want to teach in Japan, even if I have a bachelor's degree in music, if I have a bachelor's degree, like you were saying, that's what allows me to get more jobs because I studied more. It's good for your status, your ethos. The problem is I don't want to teach English with a bachelor's degree in music. That's like you teaching at Shibuya Language School with a bachelor's degree in cooking and food. It makes no sense. Why? It doesn't. Philosophy and international relations can be similar because they both involve thinking and writing and speaking. But for food and cooking and teaching English in Japan, it's different. So that's why I changed major, because even if I end up going to Japan or not going to Japan, my chances of finding a job in communications are going to be easier than finding a job in music, because music requires you to practice every day, whereas as communications, I am already good at it. It's what I like doing. So that's why I'm very happy with my major with communications. And when I applied to the JET program, I think that they liked seeing that my major was in communications. I know somebody who applied to the JET program and they have a major in gender studies. Even though it's different, maybe JET program will put us in a more difficult job in different locations in Japan, depending on how good your degree is. Does that make sense? Do you think JET would do that? If they saw that my major was in communications or English, do you think I would be at a tougher school that would pay more or be easier to have a job at versus someone who had a job or a bachelor's degree that was different, that was easier? That's a very tough question. What would you choose, I guess? Like if you accepted both students, one student in woman culture and gender studies, and you accepted a student in communications and English, where would you put them in Japan? Where would you put both of them? Where would you put both students if you had to choose a location in Japan? Like what prefecture?
Mm,
Do you think Tokyo would be easier for a less complicated major or a more complicated major? I guess I could use a different major, not gender studies. Let's say that I were to do a bachelor's degree in cooking versus a bachelor's degree in English with some Japanese background. Do you think that the Japanese background major would do well in a rural area or in an urban area? Like if I were to go work in what's the sushi capital in Tokyo? What is it called? Isn't it Shiogama?
Shiogama.
Ginza. Ginza.
Ginza.
Ginza. Ginza is let's say Ginza has a elementary school. Do you think that it would be easier for the student with a bachelor's degree in cooking to teach English in Ginza? Or do you think it'd be easier for him to teach in Morioka? But they don't have any Japanese background. They're only English.
I'm not sure. Criteria JET program staff members follow.
Let's say it wasn't jet related. Let's say it was just in general. You were a contracting organization to take people and put them in Japan. Let's say it's not English related. Let's say it's just to teach. Have the person who's good at their major teach in a city in Japan. Where would you put them? Where would you put the bachelor's degree in cooking student in Japan? What would you recommend? Do you think Ginza is a good place?
What do you think so is because of the cooking major?
Because of a cooking major. Would it make sense to put them in a prefecture where there's a lot of cooking and cooking schools? Or do you think it'd be better putting them out in the countryside and having them maybe open up a restaurant in the rural area in that school over there? If you think that's a hard question, then what I want to know is why is that hard to think? In America, if we had both of those students, we would take the cooking student who had no language ability, and we would put them in Los Angeles, because in Los Angeles there are many different cultures and there are a lot of cooking schools over there. Even though the person said that they wanted to go into a rural area to go and do their international exchange from one university to another, we recommend that we put the university or that we recommend that that student goes to a cooking university in Los Angeles because there's more opportunities and there's more English with intercultural background. And for the student who wants to go and do like a bachelor's degree in a technology, we can either put him in San Francisco or in San Jose because they are very complicated with their technology majors. Now, if I were to look at the United States as a whole, if I saw someone who was really, really, really good at music, I would put them, and they liked jazzu. I would put them in New Orleans,
Mhm.
New York,
Mhm.
New Jersey, Texas, because all in the middle of the United States is jazz oriented, as well as a little bit of California. But if they wanted to do purely classical music or video game music, I would put them in Nevada, like Las Vegas, or Texas, because those areas are very specific to classical music. Now, if someone wanted to do like they were a music major, but they only played taiko drums and piano and drums, I would put them in Oregon or Washington because those areas have music that is very intercultural, that work with more than one culture for music. So now when you think of it, if I were to apply with wanting to teach English or communications in Japan, but I know some Japanese and I'm willing to use my Japanese and learn more of it, what is your opinion?
I came up with one idea.
Okay, I'm ready.
I will send you to Kyuushuu.
Kyushu? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Kyushu. That's South Japan. Why?
Kyushu has international ports like Nagasaki.
And Okinawa, right? And Yokohama.
Yes.
It also
Kyushu
has
has
good spots for surfing.
yes, many beaches. And then the more important, Kyushu has a famous university in the world. Do you know APU,
APU.
Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University?
Oh, Asian Pacific.
Yeah, I think this university is popular among American students.
Ritsumeikan?
Yes, Ritsumeikan or APU.
Do you think that that would be a good area because there's a lot of students who would go to that university to learn different languages like English and Chinese and
Yes,
Mandarin?
yes,
And,
Kyushu. Yeah, many kinds of race and many kinds of families.
but isn't Kyushu competitive? Isn't Kyushu as competitive as, let's say, Tokyo, Kyoto, Hokkaido? Aren't all those areas very competitive? Isn't it very hard to get into that school or to teach in Kyushu?
But
So I think that's like
personally,
one of the number ones. That's the number one location people choose on like English teaching programs. Is they want to teach in Kyushu, they want to teach in Hiroshima, they want to teach in Fukuoka, specifically in Kyushu, Sendai, Hokkaido.
yeah, I have to stop temporarily because now many
We
students.
we we will have to talk another time.
Okay,
I'm very grateful for the conversation. Thank you.
thank you. Bye for now. Sorry.
Bye bye.